morning. Here I am on this beautiful day. This is day number 4 that I will be out on the lake fishing. Have a shorter period of time. I'm only going to fish for about an hour, but hoping to see that I catch quite a few fish. So as the sun is coming up, it's just got done raining a little bit. I'm hoping it'll make for some good fishing. Let's get to it. And, let's see what we can catch. Day 4 of fishing and going to be heading out. I'm going to keep to what's been working, so I'm going to be trying my Rebel popper, particularly the purple shad color, see how well that goes, and if need be, try to go with the 2-bait, which also seems to be quite successful. In fact, I've caught some of my biggest fish on the white 2-bait, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of the popping in the morning, and I have a shorter day today to fish, so I'm going to try to catch as many fish as I can, but I probably won't be getting much more than maybe 4 or 5 fish before I have to go in. So let's see what can happen. Take care. As you guys all know, that first fish is always the probably, I would say, maybe one of the most exciting fish to catch, because it lets you know that you're not going to get skunked. So if it happens in your first handful of casts, you kind of know or feel that it's going to be a great day. If you have one of those days where you've cast quite a few and there's not even been a hit or a follow or something like that, obviously those are ones that make you a little bit more apprehensive as to what's going to happen. But fishermen are always optimistic, so you keep going, because you never know if that one cast that you do, I mean, and it doesn't matter if you're a pro, an expert, or what. It only takes one time for you to be in the right place at the right time, and I don't care what fish it is. If there's a fish that is hungry or aggressive at that moment, and it sees you, you know, the bait you throw, and it's in its vicinity at the right time, I mean, you can land a monster. It reminds me of a story of my childhood, when my dad was taking us fishing for basically bluegill, and he set us up with, of course, the bobber and the hook and the little sinker to keep it so that it would be down, and he put a worm on it and all that, and he would get it and cast it out there for us, and then he would say, okay, now leave it there. And for whatever reason, I was not one of those people that listened very well, so when he would tell me that, I would wait until he walked away, and I'd start to inch that bobber closer and closer, because in front of me I could see bluegill and little teeny fish, and so I was moving my bobber and that closer and closer. Well, you know, and he would holler at me and tell me, you know, stop, you need to leave it there, and that kind of thing. And you know, I learned how to cast, and so he started letting me cast. Well, one of these times that we're doing this, and he's getting frustrated because I'm not listening to him, and I keep bringing it in closer and closer. And it just so happened that day, everything must have been right, and it's going with what I was just sharing with you. I bring it to where it's maybe about a foot away from the shore. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was standing on where there was a rock, and underneath that rock there was an opening. Well, I didn't know that there was a little opening underneath there. I see some bluegills, and so I'm trying to catch one of those bluegill just so I can catch a fish. And as I bring it, and as I shared with you, it's maybe a foot away. from it, and just as I brought it in within a foot, all of a sudden I get this bang, and poof, my line and that is going, and it's tearing off the line, and of course I'm trying to reel this thing in, and it was a beast of a fish. I mean, at the time it might have been only about a 2 pound, maybe about a 2 pound, 2.5 pound largemouth bass, but it was a monster in my book, because up until that point I'd primarily only caught catfish and bluegill and of course sunfish and things like that, and I think maybe a few perch. So this was like the beast. But I can tell you that single day is a day that I got hooked on the fishing when I caught that thing. Other thing that I learned was, not to listen to my dad, and this is my stepfather Mike, who's a great man as well. But the one thing I learned on that day with fishing is that if you want to get the fish, the larger ones, it typically requires you doing a little bit more than just your typical just throwing out a bobber with a bait on it and then sitting and waiting. I'm sure you can catch them that way too, but just in my experience, almost every big fish I've ever caught in my life has always come with it being a cast retrieve effect. And so, but that is certainly one of the things that just really made me fall in love with fishing. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's a kind of a funny, silly story. But yeah, my dad, he was so frustrated trying to get me to just leave it alone so he could set my other two brothers up. But I just was impatient and just kept the thing moving because I wanted the bobber to go down and wanted to fish. Well, I eventually got that fish to take, and it was a monster. And of course, our family, we actually ate that fish. There was we had a couple bluegill with it as well, but we took that home and ate it up. And love to say it was the best tasting fish I ever had, but I think it was actually the first tasting real fish, game fish, that I had actually caught and then had the privilege of eating. But yeah, that was quite an enjoyment. So let's get back to fishing and see if we can catch something.